Start on this computer.
There we go.
Okay. It's February 18th, 2021, and I'm so happy that you could join me to explore this dream with me that I woke up in the middle of the night with. I know you'll be able to help me reflect and understand.
Very excited to hear it.
Yeah. And I have to say how beautiful you look, and your hair is so beautiful. It's just wonderful to join you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you're okay with me recording this. Whether we ever share it or not, it's just
that never really bothers me. I'm just like, let's do it.
Great.
If it helps somebody else apart, additionally to us, then go for it.
Yeah, that's the way I always feel too. So I woke up in the middle of the night with this dream, and I wanted to say, you've probably experienced, start off with this. You've probably experienced this feeling as well when you wake up from a dream and you go, oh, okay, all right, this is important. It's like before your thoughts come in and start analyzing, it's like it tells you.
Oh yeah, it's a visceral feeling.
Yeah, like, okay, I will, it's like, you will not forget this. Whereas some dreams you wake up and it's like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
And it's like
a lot of those.
yeah, and it's just, and those are just like running in the background kind of code, that's going on, that's not as important.
That's a neat analogy. I like that.
And then these come along, and I usually type them up and share them because they're usually dreams for not just myself, but for the collective, right? Or at least the ones who resonate, and understand the language, let's say.
Yeah.
So the dream was nonlinear. It was one of those where it's like this piece, then this piece, this piece. And so it wasn't like, and then, this happened, and then this happened. And then, it's like, it's not linear in that.
Sharp edits?
No, segments, vignettes. Yeah. So the most powerful part of the, collection of vignettes, I started writing first. And as you know as well, once you start writing, and as we've talked about before, and I encourage, because I've been encouraged to do this from my guidance, to dialogue your dreams. And so as I wrote and did this morning, it was like, wow. It was like why didn't I see this before? Why did that not come, that piece? Why was that not clear to me until I was attentive to the dream and listening? And so I just wanted to, also include the process, of how it goes deeper and how we can come to understand, more and more about what this is saying. So I'm going to bring up my notes on it. So I'm running along a path, and I have a partner with me, a young man. He's my partner, but I don't know who this person is in my life, or I don't have any reference for him, but he's supposedly my partner, and I'm in the lead, and we're running. I feel like, God, I feel like I'm in a science fiction movie, and we're out in nature, and we're running away and looking over our shoulders, and there was the feeling of we escaped from the dark lords. We escaped from the prison. We're running now, and we're away from it. And it was just like this suspense and just running, and not knowing if we're going to be successful with this escape from this horrible place. And then as I'm running, he's behind. I notice that nature is just gorgeous. There's gorgeous trees, just running, and just like, wow, like I'd forgotten about this, right? Forgotten about this connection.
And does
So
it look like here? What does it look like?
yes, yeah, yeah. We were in a life and death situation. What we were running from was certain prison and death. The feeling of no possibility of returning was what kept us moving forward. Like, we know we're not going back there, right? No matter what. Felt like a sci-fi thriller. And it's pretty soon I noticed movement up ahead, like on a hill where the path was going. And I noticed several bundles of dark colored fur. And so I'm looking over here because that's where my big screen is, where I'm reading it. And then it was like, I'm still running, and I'm going, oh, okay, now what? And so the little fur balls, and it's not possible to talk to my partner because we're doing this. I'm just noticing, okay, here's what's coming up next. And they, in my mind, I was going, well, those look like bear cubs. And then, oh, bear cubs, that kind of memory or realization that where there are bear cubs, blank, blank, dot, dot, dot. And then, which happened to me in real life. So I'm also that's been a real experience for me to come across baby cubs and a mother. Yeah. And so then I watched them like shapeshift. They changed or morphed into what looked more like little wolf cubs. And if that's what they're called, are they wolf cubs or
pups?
Wolf pups. Okay, bear cubs, wolf pups. And then I just noticed as I'm running that it's like, I don't know if this is bear or if this is wolf. And then we come to, so then we're heading straight towards the wild animals who were walking on the trail towards us. My partner and I were trying to communicate to each other as we ran, saying things like, do you see it? What is it? Can we keep going? Should we keep going? Sure. Is this, trying to make a decision, right? The feeling is we're definitely going back. Bear cubs. I recall thinking that's a lot of cubs. There are about 4 or 5 of them. Then shape shifted into the wolf pups.
And were there the same number?
Yeah, but that wasn't an important thing in the dream. And then, the realization that where there are cubs, there's a protective mother. It seemed we were trapped between certain death in both directions, right? When we finally met up, we stopped for the first time since the dream started. The mother of the pups was a huge wolf-like wild animal. And she began snarling, growling, notifying us that we were not welcome and would soon die. She was quite large and radiated stunning beauty. She was wolf-like. Here I was typing. She was wolf-like because she was not like wolf in our collective imagination. She was black with beautiful tan markings, especially inside her tall ears. And then I typed OMG. I had to go look up Egyptian dog head tall ears because I didn't know who it was. You do. I don't know these things.
But you knew it was Egyptian. That's
I did know because when it dawned on me, I went, that's it. I know that image, but I didn't know the name of the image. So I type here, OMG, it's Anubis. And parentheses, huge revelation while writing. At this point, I'm communicating with my partner in our minds. We started going telepathic. He wanted to go back and run from this being and her pups. You know, I know these gods are like gods and goddesses, but this was a protective mother that was Anubis.
Yeah, I like that.
Whatever.
I've got something to say about that.
Okay, good. My partner wanted to go back and run back in the direction that we were escaping from. Yeah. So it's like he was more afraid of this than what we had just come from. So it's like, what's your choice here? Before I knew it, he swept me into his arms, turned back, and was running, carrying me away from the wolf/bears back towards the prison place. I called her, at this point I was calling her the wild mother, was just to, okay, so I have to like demonstrate this. He's carrying me. And so I'm just kind of bouncing like this, like, why are you just taking me? This isn't what I want. And for some reason, something filled me. Everything went slow motion. It became very, I'm in a dream, I know, but it came very dreamlike. And I reached my left hand back. She was right here, breathing on me and almost up to me. And I did this, and my partner was absolutely horrified that I was doing this. And I reached my arm back and I just went, I just trust completely, totally. Eat me or let me live. But I'm reaching for you. And all that vulnerability.
And that's bringing tears to my eyes. That's a very powerful.
It's bringing tears back to my eyes too, because I almost wept through this part as I was writing it and remembering it. But the power of this reaching back with my left hand, and then boom, everything changed. Everything changed. I felt peace. I felt connected to her. I felt connected to all. And I was back in sync. I was no longer, I had returned back or forward, realizing that I had been in this other reality. But I was back. And this motion of making that conscious connection is what pushed me back into a different reality. So the next memory is everything is boom, that segment's over. And then the next thing I know, same partner and I, are in this oval shaped house or apartment.
That's a recurring theme, isn't it?
Very recurring, the oval shape. Mm-hmm. Very minimalistic, very just almost like you're in a Star Trek movie and it's just, here's the bed and everything blends in with the oval shaped walls and dim lighting, and we're aware that we're in this in between place, like, okay, we're here now. I don't want to forget any of these details. Yeah.
And I don't want to miss any of them.
The new space we were in was a result of my reconnection with, I call it Mother Anubis now. I would compare it to the size of a 2,000 square foot home. It was an extreme minimalist decor. We were on the bed. Our child was moving about.
Wow.
This is the first entry of a child. We seemed to be recovering from whatever we had just lived through. The child was new. He was having trouble adjusting to where he was. He was more like a wolf or wild animal. My partner and I were doing our best to adjust, to understand, to integrate what was happening. He sat at the right, the boy, the child, sat at the right and my side of the bed, huddled and frightened. My partner was doing his best to also take care of his own needs and still maintain awareness of the child. A feeling suddenly came over me. I knew I was being contacted, just like now, just like it wasn't different from when I know there's a message coming, or I know a dream message. I'll be dreaming tonight and it'll be something, that I need to pay attention to. Or in the early days, the feeling that would come over me when I knew I was going to have a contact experience. And then nowadays, at this point in time, it's just, oh, the feeling comes over me and it's like, well, I need to connect right now because something, I need to be informed of something. Same thing in the dream. That same feeling came over me. And I told my partner that I had to go and be by myself, which is what I always did with whatever partner I was with in this life. And I told him I needed to go listen, and so that we could better understand what was happening, so we could be informed. I went into another room. My partner was nervous to be alone with the child and called to me. I just held up my hand to communicate via energy. I could feel that my energy was communicating to him. Not just, fuck off, go away, but, like you need to know this is important, but, like all the data was just coming from me to him.
And who's him? Your partner?
My partner. Okay. Yeah, the one that, is just like this random partner that I don't really have a connection with.
Right. Probably not that random in that reality.
Yeah. Yeah. So I held up my hand. It just informed him through energy that everything's going to be okay, and I need this space to communicate with these guides. He eventually understood the importance of it and left my view from the room where I sat. I knew that I couldn't help him with his fear and anxiety. My first priority was to receive the love, guidance, and calm that has been a constant in my existence wherever I am. So that's how that segment ended. And there was another piece of it that just faded. So I just have to let it go. And, okay, that part wasn't as important as recording these parts. Right? So then I started looking up Anubis. And I'm like, oh, I got to talk to Zuzanna. She knows all about these mythological characters and can help me understand the myth of it, the myth part of it.
Right.
And, of course, I'm reading and I'm going, oh, it's a god. It's not a goddess. It was like that. It was the mother. It was
Well, I've got something to
mother, and I can't wait to hear that.
Hang on just a second.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, that pretty much covers it, what I had written here, although more little envelopes could open as we talk. But do you have any questions first before you share what you...
Yeah, I didn't have any paper nearby, and I had two questions, and I can't think of what they are now, but maybe they'll come as we're talking about it.
Okay. So go ahead and respond in whatever way you're inspired.
Yeah, okay, so first of all, here's...
Yes. Yeah.
Who I've had as a long-term buddy, friend, and helper in the underworld. And I've also had a question about the gender, which is really interesting. Your dream has really kind of like just made me feel so good, just so good.
I'm glad.
So Anubis is equated with the dog star and the Canis Major constellation, which is just sort of like southeast of Orion. Within that constellation is Sirius, and the belt stars of Orion sort of points right to it.
Okay.
Anubis was the offspring of Set and Nephthys. Nephthys was sister to Isis. Isis was a consort to Osiris, and Orion is supposed to be Osiris. So I've always wondered, so where's Isis? I mean, Isis was a goddess. She'd be very big here, in the constellations. Why isn't she present? And so I've always thought that if Isis was present, it would be the constellation of Canis Major, and it would be the star of Sirius. And so I think that the equating of that star system with as a dog, I think that's kind of like a new fabrication. I think that is actually Isis following Orion, looking for Orion because she was searching for him. Set imprisoned him, chopped him up into little pieces, dispersed him across the universe, and Isis went off looking for him. And Anubis was very devoted to Isis particularly. I mean, they were like, like that. So there's a connection there with Isis, who is the mother goddess, and Anubis. And then Anubis also is the conductor through the underworld for the newly separated from the body soul that's going towards, moving towards their process, whatever process that is. Conducts them to the balancing out of the heart and the feather of Mot, and which happens right after, the passing. And so Anubis is a conductor into realms that are maybe new, scary, and uncharted for the person. I mean, until your memory comes back, in my opinion, So that you've seen Anubis as a feminine, really kind of like confirms my feeling, my intuition. I mean, I've had this kind of like thing going on in my head for many, many, many years, and it's like, surely there's something with the goddess here. And so all these pieces together, that Anubis was really devoted to Isis, and he helped her in the process of finding the pieces of Osiris to put them back, to remember them. And so that place in the sky, which is called the Duat, the Sirius, Orion, Hyades, Pleiades, that's a very important place. The Egyptians, I think it's the Egyptians, thought that the soul came down from Orion to be embodied. And the Indians, the Eastern Indians, I think I've got this right, have in their mythology that that's where the soul travels to when we pass away. I might have it opposite. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm not trying to write a dissertation or get a PhD with this. So there's a lot of wonderful food for thought and imagery and stuff in your dream, for me particularly. The four little ones, and the what do you call it, the wild mother? Did you call her the wild?
I called her the wild mother. Yeah,
I love that term. That term to me is it. I mean, you've got hit the nail on the head. That's so brilliant. And Anubis has shown up in my life very particularly, and he helps me when I do certain journeys to Sekhmet and Hathor, who are my, I don't know what they're called, like tutelary goddesses or something, whatever that term is. He meets me when I start this journey to meet them. He meets me and then takes me the rest of the way. And is very warm and loving, and will often embrace me, and is just like a dear friend. One time when I was doing, years and years and years ago, when I was doing healing work with somebody, hands-on or hands-off work that I used to do, they saw him in the room as a him then. And that was way before I had my conscious connection with Anubis. So this is really important. I mean, I can't tell you what your dream means to you, but this is really important information to me, and corroborates what I have been struggling with and wondering about for a long time. And wow, so let me think if there's any questions. There's definitely something that I wanted to ask about. Well, do you have do you know what your partner looked like? I mean, do you like, dark hair, light hair, young, old, tall, or, I mean, do you have a sense of that?
Tall, athletic, young. I mean, I was young too. It wasn't like there was an old lady running with me.
Right. Yeah. No, we're often like are different ages in our dreams. Sure, yeah.
I don't know. I just found that very funny. We were both young people, and he was tall and capable. I wouldn't say warrior, just a good man, but afraid,
Mm,
afraid of the unknown,
mm,
afraid of um, what he didn't understand.
right, right,
And so I had to keep being, like, I got this, or, especially in the new space, the oval space, where I had to, it was almost, we need to get to that wild child.
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, but
coming in
but
now.
he was afraid of the child, like, ugh, why do we suddenly have a child here, and why is he so wild, and just kind of that, like, not a bad person, but
Right, right,
just not instinctual, not he didn't have his feminine, integration of his feminine side, I would put it that way.
right, right. And so, how old was the child, and was the child in human form, or was it in a wolf form?
Both,
Yeah,
hybrid.
yeah.
um he was probably about 7. That's just what pops into my head.
Mhm.
um I also want to say too, before I forget, that in my Sunday connecting time, this last that was usually making into new Sunday series, sharing my connecting time and the insights. Um, in this last one, I had this breakthrough, and it was like I had the understanding that I just popped through into the underworld, like, boom. And then the mother started speaking through me.
There you go. There you go. Wow.
So to have this dream of, and reading as I'm trying to understand who Anubis, I was saying it wrong.
No, I don't think there's any right or wrong. You
Oh,
may have
okay.
it right. Who knows? I mean, that's just how it's always pronounced to me, but I don't ever trust that.
It, um, just reading about who this mythological creature is, and it's tough when you start looking online
Yeah,
for, and then you start getting taken down everybody's, different pathways and stories and all.
right,
And I want to stay with
right,
what's
right,
resonantly true here
right.
as much as possible. But that where was I going with that? It was about the child, and it was about Anubis.
Was the child sort of like an Anubis character? And
Just
what was
that
his coloring?
um, hmm, skin, because I would say the child was primarily human with hair that was, like wolf-like, dog-like, right? So um, this child was, um, I would say, in looking at the dream from my perspective now, it would be the child of human and Anubis, right?
Mm.
Um, I don't understand any of that. I'm not even going to speculate, because I have to stay, and what I guide other people through is stay with the feeling, stay with the feeling. Don't get caught in the mental zone where you
Yeah.
start going,
Well,
well,
creating.
Anubis means blah blah blah, and the color da da means da da da. Only go with that if you have repeatedly confirmed that in your own dream. Um, what's the word? Uh,
Like symbology.
Yeah, but there's a word for it, what your group symbology is, your own kind of
Right,
glossary.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not in word mode right now. I'm almost all feeling, so I'm doing my best
Yeah.
to articulate. So
What was your relationship, if you can feel into that and get a handle on that, with the child in the dream? You said like your partner was afraid of him, you know.
sorry. My relationship with the child was I was communicating to the child telepathically, and he was huddled. He was huddled by me, like he was still afraid, but he was like, I think this is, I think this is where I feel safest. I would say, I'm speaking from his
Yeah,
perspective,
yeah,
and I would just put my hand down. By him, even though he was afraid and he was half animal, he was wild, you know. So I wasn't sure how I was going to relate or where this was going, right? It was one of those unknown, unanswered, unaddressed things. And that was part of the reason why I had to dismiss myself when I felt the communion call, right? I knew, okay, I'm going to understand more of what's happening here if I would just remove myself,
yeah,
ask my partner, just, keep an eye on, just, it's going to be okay. But he was afraid of the child, like, did we create this, or where did he come from, right? So there were so many unanswered questions, and we were so in between, with a feeling that um, like you had just been through a war and you finally are safe and it's over.
yeah,
But it's like, now what,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And understanding that this guidance that's always been important to me in navigating in the dreams terms, the prison world or the darkness. um, I've relied very much on that, even as a young child, and this is something that you and I share. And we
Right.
discovered we had the same kinds of experiences as a child. That, oh, I'm connected to something that's guiding me.
Yeah. And what you have said within this segment of talking about it feels literal to me. You've been through a war and now you're
Oh,
done
for
and
sure,
safe.
for
This
sure.
feels literal to
Hmm.
me.
It is, and it's also the same, reaching, same feeling when I reached my hand back in slow motion. I linked back up with him, her, wild mother, Anubis.
It's
Um,
brilliant.
and then boom, and then the awareness that when I am relinking with her and she's not going to kill me, that I'm suddenly shoved in back, not like backwards, but returning
Hmm.
to what was always supposed to be, or
Hmm. Hmm.
what's the real world, or this is the harmonious world, the one that works the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
And that other thing that I just got, whoop, um, I'm out of sync with that old world, and now I'm back in sync with this world.
that's probably the correct word, isn't it? Oh, okay. I thought of another thing that passed through my mind while you were telling your dream. It reminds me, analogous to dreams that I've had of the tiger. I think I might have told you about my tiger dreams, or alluded to them or something like that in the past. If you don't remember them, it's not that important. But I've had a series of recurring dreams where this tiger is after me, and I'm like running from this tiger, and it's grabbing at my sacrum was a recurring part. I would like run into a room and like be closing the door, and its huge paws would be coming around, and
Yeah.
then finally I had a dream where I wasn't afraid of the tiger. I was running with all these animals, and a tiger was one of them, and it passed me, and it was doing something up ahead, and I was just like one of them all, I mean, it wasn't scary anymore. And that was just like, wow, that took a long time. But your term, the wild mother, is that tiger means that to me. I never had those words, but the feeling was there. But those words are just perfect, perfect, perfect. The wild mother, that's what the tiger is for me.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that back up again. I do remember when you shared that, because we compared notes. The closest dream experience that I can come to what I just experienced last night with reaching back for Anubis was I was in my car in another dream years ago, and very similar to your tiger dream. I have the window open, and I'm just like sleeping or resting or something, and this black jaguar jumps in to the car through the car window and sits in the seat and goes and gets really close to my face. I can feel the breath on my neck, just like I did with the wolf Anubis. Um, and it was that,
Oh God, that's bringing tears to my eyes again.
this is death. This is, here you go. I surrender. And then once I completely let go, and just like I did in the dream last night, like, here it is. Here's that moment
Yeah. Yeah.
where, I know I'm not going to go back to the prison world. So I may as well die by being eaten by this wild animal, right?
It could be obviously worse things, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and so the black jaguar, as soon as I made the full surrender, and it was that moment when it was recognized, then just kind of settled in, and we were just together,
That's
and
so awesome.
one, or together, or just no fear. It was transformed. So I remember we did have that conversation where you shared your
Yeah,
tiger
I sort of
dream.
thought so, but then,
Yeah,
I'm never sure.
yeah,
And if you've told me that dream, I haven't remembered it, but it makes sense that that's what I saw over your head in that painting that I did of the jaguar,
yeah,
it being like your, for lack of a better word, because I can't think right now, totem, totem animal kind of thing,
right,
guide or something like that, seemed really obvious to me when I'm looking at that image.
yes.
And that came.
Beautiful image
I
that you
love that.
created.
I love that. Wow.
That's Ish. It's the Ish in the Mayan cosmology, and
IX.
IX, and
So
it's the
what
jaguar mother.
that's what is said when the mother comes through, isn't it? Ishtamai.
That's true. Ishtama, Ishtama, Ishtama.
Ishtama. Yeah.
And I was just talking to my friend
Ishtamai.
Lori the other
Cool.
day, and I said, every time I hear that, she mentioned it. And then she said it out loud, and I went, oh, I just get such joy when I hear that phrase, because it's like, this is the mother. This is the greeting, and this is when I connect. Right.
Yeah. And it's the wild mother. That's the thing.
Yeah.
She's showing you that part now.
Yeah.
It seems to me that's that's the part to get to know now, or to interface with now, or whatever. Um, I'm certainly taking it as that for me, you know?
Yeah, but it also, this is an important piece. I felt when I woke up, even before I got the Anubis piece of it or any of it, I just went, oh my God, I'm free. Like I felt free.
Wow,
Like,
awesome.
okay, this is going to wrap up. This is really happening. Like, even if that means, I'm going to keel over and die today, that's fine.
Yeah, we go through this periodically, don't we? We
Yeah,
talked about
we
that the other day. We said that just the other
do.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's not coming from a depressed
no,
place, or,
no, no, no,
it's like,
no.
here you go, here's my neck.
No, no, it's like, come on, take
Yeah.
me.
Here we
And
go.
I think that you have an offspring that's the wild thing too. If
Mm,
that's symbolic and
mhm.
not actual, to me, that symbology would be, you're giving your the thing that comes out of you, which to me would be like teachings, classes, gatherings, whatever, is informed by the wild. I mean, it has to be informed by the wild.
Yes, I love that. That's great,
Just,
Susanna.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
just what I get, and I'm getting chills all over the places in the
yeah,
last few minutes we've been talking.
yeah.
Um, this is like so fertile for me. I'm going to be exploring this. It's just,
And I'd love to hear, whatever comes to you, and maybe you're going to have a dream about it too. Who knows?
well,
Because
when you
we see.
started talking, when you were relating it, I was wondering, is this gonna, and my picture of the wild mother and the
Yes,
wild mother,
love
and
it.
let me put this one too, this one that I was referring to as well, that
Oh yes,
you and
yeah.
your wild mother,
With
that's
my long mane, yeah.
yeah, with your long hair. But that's the wild mother, and I feel so joyful right now
Yeah,
after having talked about this. This is like another step, another level, another something, another expansion or something. I don't need to have the right word for it, but I, you know,
mhm.
struggle with words. Anyway, because I want to, because I've got Gemini. There's a lot of Gemini in my chart. So anyway,
Oh, Moon and
um,
Gemini here.
yeah.
Blah blah
um,
blah blah blah.
That's why we're so good. I've got Sun and Venus in Gemini, so it's just like, go for it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this is really. I mean, when you told me that you had this dream about Anubis, I'm like, whoa! I've got to. I don't care if I have to fly today to get her to tell me about it. I'm gonna hear about it now.
Yeah, I was so hoping you'd feel that way because I knew that I needed your reflection. I'm the naive one. I was born into this place, and I wasn't supposed to gather a whole lot of details and get attached to data in the outer world. I think
Yeah,
I talked about this in my last new Sunday talk.
I've
Um,
got to catch up with those. I've got to catch up. I think I've got two that I haven't.
but you'll have time to catch up because I'm not. I'm listening to the mother from last Sunday. She wants to be music, so I'm
That's
my last
wild.
my last post. Yeah, that's wild.
If she's coming through as music, I think that's wild mother stuff to
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not it's not how we would normally expect it or think of it.
Yeah.
But this is something really special, Eileen. Thank you so much for sharing it with
Oh
me.
gosh, thanks for receiving it. Thanks for reflecting it back to me. Um, I feel right now that I am in this in between space where I'm navigating this now, where I know we're not going back. I'm not going back to that, and listening to all the guidance of the messages, and of course I'm receiving it and translating it all these years, so it's in me. It's changed me, and now it's here and it's real, and the dreams
Yeah.
even reflect this.
Yes. Yes.
It isn't just, like, I understand that people could look at me and my life and my work and go, she is batshit crazy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally get that. I see that.
Highly imaginative.
Yes, yes,
At best.
yeah. But it's always been full of synchronicities from inner to outer. It's like it's
Yeah.
always showing me and confirming and
Yeah.
validating.
Yeah.
It'll come in and say, Google this or Google that, and it's like, right, I'll wake up with that, like, go look this up, and
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
get that too. I'll
yeah,
get things like flash up on that inner screen kind of thing.
yes,
And I look it
yeah,
up and it's just like, okay, wow.
and
That's
then you go look it up and it's like, oh my God, that's addressing this and this,
yeah.
and now I can synthesize it, and just magical, absolutely magical. And this is the only reason I share it in a public way is because I want people to know that this is who we are, and that it isn't some imaginative distant thing. We can engage with it right now.
Right. Because this is how you do it.
This is how you do it
This is how you
consciously.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I'm so
So
excited, and I'm just getting these like waves and waves of chills, and that to me is always my marker of
yeah, the
like
validation.
you're
Yeah,
on track. Yeah, it's the validation thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, wow, I can't wait to explore this further myself and then come back and compare with you. I think
Okay, I'd
the,
love that.
the
Yeah,
next thing, the next, you know what I mean, but the next, I don't know, it's something, it's some developments, the next development or something like that, that we're
yeah,
just
yeah.
working.
And it is all nonlinear. How I was describing the way the dream even unfolded. We are in nonlinear land right now.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the
I've been having a
dream
lot of dreams like
space.
that
Yeah.
when I'm having dreams. I'm in a space right now where I'm not having remembered dreams. But oh, one thing I wanted to remember to tell you is I know you live in a place that is overcast like most of the time, but if you can during the winter time and you get a clear night, go out and look because Sirius will be
Oh,
in the south.
we know each other well,
Good.
Siri.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Hmm.
So you can kind of commune that way too,
Hmm.
and ask for that. You know, and so like say you have, it's got to be backwards, I guess, for you. Orion and Sirius, is that right? Does that look right to you, or is that backwards? Because it's backwards to me.
Sirius Orion, I
Yes.
believe,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
thought maybe I had to show it backwards to you.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Because
be clever.
it's right outside my door at oh, I can see Sirius probably about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock,
Yeah, that
nine
makes
o'clock.
sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Hmm.
So you see Orion and Sirius, and then up here is another fairly bright star, and that's Procyon.
Ah.
And that's the constellation of Canis Minor. So
Oh,
maybe
interesting.
that's Anubis. Canis Major is actually Isis, and then Osiris, and then the whole rest of the duat. It's just a question that I've had in my mind.
Hmm.
It's how my mind kind of operates. I always try and put the the symbolism. How do I say this? The reason for the importance of the stars is not only because they're important, but they have this symbolism with them, and the symbolism is complete. But we've forgotten so much. It's
Right.
broken down over time. Names have changed.
Mhm.
Myths have been altered to fit the patriarchy. But I wonder if that sort of like companion to Canis Major, the companion is Canis Minor. I'm wondering if Minor is Anubis in this myth, and this is Isis. That's what I think, anyway.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Well, keep reflecting on that. I want to hear what
Yeah.
comes together within
Yeah,
you.
it's very exciting. And I think today's Thursday, right? I think tomorrow night we're going to have a clear sky. So I'm excited to get out there and look. And you know, I'm living at the place now, but just one neighbor over, where I used to lay out under the tree that no longer exists at that house just across, next door neighbor. And hours I would spend bundled up in the wintertime looking at the whole duo, Isis and
Yeah.
Orion, and that
Yeah.
whole, I would just watch it go, you know, just
Yeah.
watch it pass. And if you lay out there long enough,
Yeah.
you can see the movement, and it's just so exciting to feel like the earth is going this way.
Yeah.
You know, and you can
Like you're
feel it.
connected to it. You feel that connection.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'll bring this part of our conversation to an end, and just want to say thanks again for
Yeah,
listening
you're
and
welcome.
reading that.
This was awesome. Thank you for this. This is a great inspiration and so rich. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you, Zuzanna. And we'll reconvene if more comes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There'll be
All right.
more, I know.
Okay, until then.
Okay.